Oh, Bronco! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. What's up, everybody? Welcome into this latest episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Today, we're going to be joined by Bob Downey talking about the new CrushCity soft plastics from Rapala, something that was announced just a little over a week ago at ICAST. There have been some rumblings about it. Everything's been unveiled now. 5 new baits to the lineup. Bob, real quick, just the excitement level around these baits. We were at ICAST. We saw the action in the booth, all the traffic on social media, a lot of buzz being created around this new brand. Talk a little bit about your excitement for this project that Rapala's put together with CrushCity.
Yeah, it's been a cool project that's been in the works for like probably 2 years now, I'd say. And Rapala was into soft plastics a few years ago, and now they're back into it. And they've done a really nice job with their first 5 or 6 shapes that they've come out with. I think the marketing spot on, packaging is really good, and the shapes are, very practical too. It's going to be stuff that we're going to be using every day, and then hopefully expanding on the line as the years to come. So definitely a lot of excitement around it.
Yeah, I've never been in a position where I've developed my own line of baits, but I could think that when you do set upon that as an endeavor, for me as an angler, and I know that a lot of the people that work at companies like Rapala and CrushCity are anglers, they're getting input from the pros as well. You want to be able to cover the whole gamut of, top to bottom, different varieties, sizes, and everything while you're out on the water. That's what this lineup is going to do. Let's talk real quick. Let's just start with the Bronco Bug. Looks like a bait that you can probably flip. You might be able to get creative on a swing head or some different things and mix it up depending on the time of the year. Talk about the Bronco Bug, how you might apply it out on the water.
Yeah, you can definitely flip that bait. I think you could throw it on a Carolina rig or a swing head, like you said. I've been fishing it on grass lines and in submergent grass on a Texas rig around the house. We throw a little bit bigger profile plastics doing that, and that Bronco Bug fits that profile really well. So yeah, definitely a unique bait, has a really cool action to it, whether it's hopping along the bottom or even swimming it through the water column too. It swims in a really unique way. So it's a cool bait.
Other parts of the lineup, so press release that was put out there around the time of ICAST, we've got it on our website as well, collegiatebasschampionship.com, documents the new lineup of baits from CrushCity by Rapala. You've got the Bronco Bug, the Freeloader, the Ned BLT, the Cleanup Crawl, and the Mayor. Of those that we mentioned, we just talked about the Bronco Bug. Bob, is there any of those other 4 that maybe stands out to you as one that you've had a lot of success with already, or that you're really looking forward to trying as we move into late summer, early fall, and you continue to experiment with these baits?
Yeah, I've used the Cleanup Crawl a lot on the Elites this year. I've used it as a swim jig trailer. I've put it on the back of a buzz bait in lieu of a skirt, and then I flipped it too on a Texas rig. And I've weighed several fish throughout the season already this year on that one bait. It's really versatile. It's kind of a nice medium-sized craw. You could also throw it on a football jig trailer, that sort of deal. But the other couple ones that I'll probably be using more here in the latter part of the season is the Ned BLT and then the 3-inch Mayor, the little swim bait. So both really good smallmouth baits that I've been using around the house a lot and trying to get more comfortable and familiar with them. And they definitely put some fish in the boat.
Yeah, taking a look at the Mayor, it looks like one of those baits, forward-facing sonar. Here with the Association of Collegiate Anglers, we're partnered with Garmin, so LiveScope is their version of that. We hear about it all the time. The anglers are out there using it, fishing with it, and you've seen in the last year or two, at least becoming more public, these baits that are designed specifically for that application. You're talking about going up north, catching smallmouth. A lot of that is turned into watching your electronics, panning, seeing them, fishing for them either vertically or casting to them. And a bait like the Mayor is one that you might be able to present in that manner to implement your forward-facing sonar like a LiveScope and fish for those fish directly on your screen. Talk a little about the Mayor and what makes that such a good bait for that application.
Yeah, I mean, any swim bait, smaller swim bait is a really good way to target smallmouth. And now with forward-facing sonar, we can really pinpoint our casts on those fish that are not necessarily sitting on the bottom so much. They're maybe a foot or two off the bottom, or they're hovering in the middle of the water column, and that swim bait is a really good way to pendulum it down. It's a smaller profile, more of a finesse profile, so you're going to get a lot of bites with it too.
We're talking with Bob Downey, professional angler, looking at CrushCity from Rapala, a new soft plastic line that was announced at ICAST just a little over a week ago. Let's talk a little bit about bait selection and color selection. We've covered the lineup of baits, how you're going to use them out on the water. And like we mentioned earlier, you can go to collegiatebasschampionship.com to find out more about that lineup and the specific applications you can use them when you go fishing yourself. Let's talk bait selection real quick. When you're looking at different applications throughout the year, whether it's the size of the bait that you're throwing, maybe the action, the weight of the bait could play a role in the fall, and maybe even other elements, including the hook and the jig head on down the line. But let's focus on baits. What are you looking for? Let's say right now, this time of the year, what are you trying to mimic, duplicate while you're out there on the water? Or maybe even it's as simple as downsizing to something like the Ned BLT that's in this lineup that doesn't really mimic anything, but the fish definitely bite it. Kind of talk about bait selection inside of this lineup and how you'd go about using each one.
Yeah, lots of parts to that deal. I mean, the color selection is really good in the lineup. Each lineup's a little bit different depending on the bait, but there's probably 14 to 16 different colors in each bait, so it really runs gamut from your minnow style colors to your dirtier water black blues to your clear water green pumpkins and everything in between. So you can really match the forage base as well as the water clarity of the place that you're fishing. And like the Net BLT, for example, they've got some really cool perch colors, and I've been using that on a drop shot. So I haven't even been throwing it on a Ned head, but trying to imitate little, 2-3 inch perch that are down there that the smallmouth are feeding on. And you can do that really well with a Ned style plastic that has more of a perch color to it. So really cool color selection and enough shapes where you can really match the size and the profile of the forage in that whatever body of water you're fishing.
Definitely something for every season in that lineup. We'll talk a little bit more about the full lineup of Rapala baits right before we wrap up, but I want to ask you a question here and now as we're taking a look at CrushCity by Rapala. Soft plastics, depending on the time of the year, you see different colors work, as you were mentioning. There's perch patterns, there's shad patterns, around the spawn, natural colors work. You see some brighter colors sometimes play into the mix. In this lineup of soft plastics, for those that might have a little bit of a brighter color, not necessarily for this in particular, but you've seen methiolates work on like a trick worm style worm, or sometimes in the Ned rigs you see really bright colored worms come out of neon almost. Is there a scenario where you'll opt for a little bit more gaudy, brighter, flashy colored soft plastic over something more natural, or do you tend to err on the side of let's make it look as normal as possible and go with the watermelons, the dark greens that represent the bait fish that the bass are targeting?
Yeah, I'll definitely tend to rely more on the natural colors, but certain times of the year, especially chasing smallmouth, I do like what I would consider more your shot colors, your morning dawns, your bubble gums, your chartreuses, that sort of deal can really trigger smallmouth, especially if you got clear water situations. They're sight feeders by nature, so they can see those bright colors from a long ways away, and they're so curious that a lot of times they'll come up and inspect it more so than they would a natural colored bait. So that's usually where I'm mixing in those brighter colors.
Last question here that I want to throw your way myself. I'm just over 30 years old, and for me, Rapala has always kind of been a hard bait company. Growing up, your grandfather and your dad are passing them down, and you see, the old school wiggleworts and different baits like that are still out there today, the shad wraps, and you name it. Just a lot of hard baits is what you focus on. But now the soft plastics, they're making this big push. They're getting it out there, and what it's going to do, it's going to offer up a full lineup. You could go to Rapala, look at the brands that they're associated with now, adding CrushCity, and if there's something you want to throw that day, you can throw it in that entire lineup, whether it's now soft plastics, it's swim baits. You want to flip, you want to go throw a topwater or a crankbait, hit them with a jerk bait. There's something in that entire lineup now with this addition of CrushCity. Talk a little bit about how that maybe revolutionizes your tackle box, your game plan when you go out on the water for the Rapala brand to be able to cover you from top to bottom, soft plastics and hard baits.
Yeah, it just makes you a lot more versatile on the water day to day. Hard baits can only be used so often. I definitely use a jerk bait and crankbait and top water and that sort of deal quite a bit, but plastics are a big part of what we use in the bass world. And so now having an entire line from Rapala just kind of rounds out everything that we need to be successful on the water day to day. So it's a really cool deal that they're doing.
Bob, thanks for joining us here today. I want to thank you for taking the time to have this phone call with us, be able to join us on the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass podcast as we talk about the CrushCity lineup of soft plastics. Anglers, like I mentioned, we've got the article on our website highlighting that lineup, collegiatebasschampionship.com. While you're over there, get over the discounts and incentives page. Rapala has some awesome programs for you to take advantage of to get these items at a discount. So go on over there, like I said, collegiatebasschampionship.com. You'll find all that information there on our website. Bob, safe travels out on the road, and best of luck to you for the rest of the season out on tour, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
If you want to be here, it all starts here. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we have the widest selection of the quality brands you love to get you outdoors. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our friendly, knowledgeable outfitters will help you find the right products for your next trip. Shop with confidence with our low price guarantee. Plus, club members save even more on great gear with exclusive member pricing. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, voted America's best outdoor retailer.